Yo, 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 what it do? Back to Dying to See Me. You know what it is. Every Wednesday we come out with new ones. Today, my guest is Miss Courtney Jones. Sister Jones is in the house. What's up, Courtney? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm all fucked up. I figured since you were coming in today in your wheelchair, I was going to come in all fucked up.
Sports leg.
Yeah, just doing what I do. All right, so today we're going to get into Courtney. Courtney is a big gearhead. Her and her father own a company. It's kind of in transition right now, right? But
yes.
Eventually we're going to do what we do. What's it called?
It's called AIP Speed.
And AIP Speed, what does AIP stand for?
AIP stands for All Industries Performance.
Okay.
So it means we do everything.
And when you say we do everything, what does that entail?
Like
freaky shit, or just like what is
well, you
it?
never know. No. So we do everything. Yeah, gearhead related. We have sport bikes, Harleys, dirt bikes, side by sides, classic cars. We used to do watercrafts, but we don't do those anymore. We even scaled back on some of the sport bikes. Just depends on, how people take care of their things. Really, tired of the bikes that come in that are all duct taped together that don't want to fix what's going on.
And then they blame you because their bike's all fucked up.
Yep.
It happens.
I've seen just about everything. So.
Yeah. You guys tuned my bike and it runs really good after somebody really fucked it up.
Oh man, it's horrible. It happens more often than you think.
No, I'm sure this guy was a pile. A fucking big old pile. I'm not gonna mention no names, Drew, but it's pretty fucked up. So, all right. So we're gonna get into you brought your fucking car today. I know. I'll probably have Eric shoot it in a minute, but what is it? What year is it?
So it's a 1969 Chevrolet Camaro SS convertible.
Mm-hmm. And what motor's in it?
I have the true LS7 454 big block.
The OG motor.
Yep. I say the true LS7 because, nowadays you can have any old LS7.
Right.
Mine came from a crate back in 1970. Mm-hmm. It would be like the hot motor, like the current 632 that everyone wants from Chevrolet. Mm-hmm. This would have been that one back in the day.
Right.
So it's the true LS7 454.
So, all right, before we go any further, because this is a debate that motherfuckers are going to have, Chevy, Ford.
Well, Chevy.
Chevy all day, right?
Yeah, and that just for me comes from a mechanic standpoint. Right. And the way Chevrolet has built things just makes sense. And I know a lot of people will argue that, and that's people that have never really worked on a car before or whatever. But I will still own a Ford before I ever own a Dodge.
Wow. I got you. Okay. So Chevy, Ford over Dodge.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
But, you're
Chevy's
not really going to own a Ford, are you?
Never.
Never, right? Like the chances of that.
Couldn't really pay me enough for that.
Right. So fuck Mopar is what you're saying.
Yes.
And Fords are for pussies.
Yeah. Mopar, no car. I'll choose the no car.
Gotcha.
And then, Ford, they circled the problem at the front.
Right.
The back.
So done deal.
Sometimes they put it in parentheses, their new headlights.
Yes.
But
all right, so you heard it here, right? Fuck Ford. Fuck. This is what we're talking about. All right, so your car outside, how long did it take you to build?
It took 7 years. However, when you own your own shop, you're busy working on other people's stuff first.
Sure.
So in one of those years, unfortunately, my mom got ill and passed away. Mm-hmm. It was a whole year-long kind of journey with her, so we didn't touch it for that entire year, and in the other years we only worked on it like once a week when we're able to take a break from other people's stuff. It's like the shoemaker has no shoes.
Right.
People that own a motorcycle shop or car shop don't have a car.
Of course. Yeah, that's the way that shit happens. How long have you been in business here in Santa Clarita?
In Santa Clarita, we've been in business since 2014. However, my shop's been around since 2000.
And where was it prior to Santa Clarita?
It was in Van Nuys.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you guys moved from Van Nuys to Santa Clarita for...
I had an accident, motorcycle accident back in 2013.
Okay.
And just kind of a lot of stuff kind of forced us into moving back then.
Okay.
I lived on a big property with my mom's parents. Mm-hmm. My mom's German, so the Oma and Opa is my grandma and grandpa in German. My Opa owned the property we lived on. He also owned the property my shop was on. And I don't know what happened with him, but in 2013, I'm not even kidding, the day I had my accident and was in the hospital, he evicted my family from both my house and my shop. So we were kind of forced to move.
Right.
We ended up moving up here, and I'm thankful that a good majority of my customers followed me, 30 miles north.
Yeah.
We did shake a lot of customers, but honestly, it's the ones that didn't want to pay for things to get done anyways.
Right.
So I kept all my really great customers.
Yeah.
They followed us, which I feel says a lot.
And you know what's crazy? I talk about this all the time is fucking people that are your buddies, right? That need something done, right? No matter what, they need it done. And they want to come to you and then they want to ask for a fucking deal. And then you're like, dude, like I got to feed my kids. And then they go somewhere else and get it done for the exact same price or more, that you were going to do. Why not just give you the money and help you feed your fucking family?
Exactly.
It's crazy, man. People are a fucking trip, dude.
Oh yeah, definitely experienced that a lot.
100%.
Big time. Yep. And lost those kind of friends.
Yeah. And I mean, were they really friends or were they just, opportunists, you know? Yeah. So let's talk about, you said that, you were involved in a motorcycle accident in 2013.
Yeah.
Okay. So what happened with that?
Well, it's a very in-depth kind of story. So, in 2013, it was February 17, 2013. It was a Sunday and it was exactly 2 weeks after my 23rd birthday. And I was a passenger on a motorcycle ride that day with my then boyfriend at the time. And, we're just heading toward the beach, PCH. We were taking Topanga Canyon, very popular canyon, been in it hundreds of times. Mm-hmm. Just that day, he took the corner wrong. We low-sided. He jumped off the bike. I went head-on into an SUV, got wedged between the bike, the car, and the pavement, and I got drugged until it stopped. Mm-hmm. I got ambulanced out of the canyon, which luckily my first responders got to me within 4 minutes, which... anyone that's been in that canyon on a nice sunny day, can you imagine the traffic jam?
Right.
They got there in 4 minutes, ambulanced me out, and then airlifted me to UCLA. If I've gone to any other hospital, I guarantee I would have died the first day I was there. I arrived with a series of injuries. I was coding for the second time, actually, when they were handing me over to the trauma team at UCLA. So my first responders thought I had died. They also thought I was like a kid because I'm 100 pounds,
Sure. Right.
And it was funny, I met my first responders many years later, or actually a year later, and they were telling me the story of when they saved me, the ones in an ambulance, because I still had my helmet on. They said I threw my helmet off, and then they were trying to put an oxygen mask on me, and I actually slapped one of the paramedics, and they were like loving it, because they were like, oh yeah, she's a fighter, she's going to make it, but then I ended up dying twice just in their hands, so.
Yeah.
But...
so what injuries did you have? You said you had multiple.
Oh, yeah. I had shattered my left leg. A shatter is anything more than 3 breaks, but I'm talking about like full-blown shattered my left leg. I shattered my pelvis and my sacrum, which is your tailbone. I fractured and compressed my spine from like the mid-level down. I broke my right shoulder. I broke 4 ribs on my left side, which in turn lacerated my liver, killed my left kidney and my spleen, which resulted in the removal of both. Put my other kidney on 24-hour continuous dialysis, which is life support for your kidney.
Yeah.
Both my lungs collapsed. I had a fractured skull and a very minor brain bleed, but they did drill into my head and make sure there was no major bleeding. The first time they drilled, they actually missed the spot and drilled again. So I have like a big old hole in my head. And then I had 4 stage 4 sacral wounds, which are wounds the size of a baseball that you see straight to the bone, all behind my legs and around my butt area. I got punctured with the handlebars. Pretty bad.
Yeah.
And then I was placed in an induced coma at the beginning, but then I wouldn't wake up. So I was just continually on life support and just in a solid coma for 3.5 months. And within that time, they had my stomach cut open over a foot long down my whole guts, just got a scar through it. And they were doing multiple surgeries. I couldn't stop bleeding out. And with that, a lot of loss of blood, being exposed to the elements, I was catching infections.
Sure.
And infections is what made me lose both my legs. So first I lost my left one above the knee. And then I caught gangrene in my right foot. I think that was just slightly just some neglect, honestly, because there was a lot of more important things to pay attention to. Mm-hmm. Caught gangrene, they amputated me below the knee. And then they realized I had an infection in my psoas muscle.
Uh-huh.
Your psoas muscle is basically the opposite of your sciatica. So it's the major muscle from the top of your leg that goes over your hip into your abdomen. I was infected to my abdomen. So when it came to that time, they were discussing the amputation, which is called a hip disarticulation. So you have like your pelvis, then you have your hip joint, and then your femur bone. I'm removed at the hip joint. So they took me at the hip and then gave me a less than 1% chance of survival. Still in a coma. I was very, very touch and go. I coded a total of 7 times while I was there. I had one doctor in particular that really fought for me. And it was a very weird story, but I believe it only because I heard it from him directly. And I also heard it from my dad at 2 separate times. They said, I literally told my doctor by like sign language, going like this and making fists and pointing at my doctor. Someone was guessing my words. I told my doctor I was tougher than him. And he asked me, he goes, okay, so if I put you in the OR, the operating room, and you don't make it off the table, you're willing to give this a shot? And I kept nodding, yeah. So he put me in the operating room. The next day, I had a 2% chance of survival. And it just kept going from there. It was a very long journey, 5 months in the hospital, 184 surgeries over the course of 5 years. Just brutal.
Yeah. So your left, you're all the way up here.
Yep. I just have like the pelvis.
Right. And then your right is to the knee.
It's below the knee.
Oh, below the knee. Okay. Yeah. Got you.
I'm about halfway through the calf.
Got you. Okay. Yeah. And then, so obvious. So what you're saying is your accident wasn't as bad like it's something like this.
Oh, well, that's worse.
This is right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure you're not trying to high side for us.
No.
You see this.
No sympathy.
This shit's serious.
That's difficult.
Motherfucking serious. Yeah. And then, so you said your at the time boyfriend, did he get any injuries to him?
He literally got up and walked away. So maybe a little scratches here and there, but nothing significant. I mean, my road rash is definitely worse than any road rash he could get.
Yeah. So he jumped off the bike and obviously ran a little bit or tumbled, I would imagine, right?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't even remember 3 days before or 3 months after. I just know from everything that was told to me by everyone that was on that ride, my police report, just, investigation of the accident scene, just everything.
And how long had you been with this boyfriend?
4 years.
Okay. So you guys were significant, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He actually was an employee of mine. Yeah.
At AIP.
Worked at my shop.
Wow. Okay. So then after the accident, where was he at? Working or?
Well, so after the accident, let's see, I was in a coma for 3.5 months and he didn't come around.
Okay.
When I woke up from my coma, he came around. Okay. Probably because he felt threatened or so. I mean, this is a huge community, the motorcycle world, the car world. Okay. I have a lot of friends and they were majorly supportive. And, he probably felt that from a lot of people, and he came around while I was in a coma, while I came out of my coma.
Gotcha.
I couldn't be left alone. I was so critical. So someone was always with me. But he wouldn't spend a whole lot of time with me. And I understand people have to work and have jobs and keep surviving. So I get that entirely. Sure. But shit, so do my parents. My parents were there 24/7.
Yeah.
After 5 months being in the hospital, I then went to a rehab for 3 weeks out in Downey. That's when everything changed. I went to the rehab. He was supposed to go with me, but he didn't. So my mom went with me instead. Just, again, couldn't be left alone. I was so critical. Then when I came home, I was living in Santa Clarita to where he was living in the valley. And he was complaining about how far I live and the drive. But from the valley to UCLA, it's the same distance, just the other way. Probably less traffic, too. So he was just making excuses of not coming out to see me. And whenever he would either just sleep or be too stoned to do anything, or he'd complain. Back then, I was in significant pain, so I couldn't do much. I mean, my pelvis took 3 years to heal, so I couldn't sit for very long. Everything hurt. I was on a ton of drugs back then for pain, and I mean, cut me a break, He would just complain and make excuses, and then one day I was tired of it and caught him in a big lie. He was out riding a motorcycle when he told me he was doing laundry. And I know a lot of people in this motorcycle world, and they called me and said, he's out on a bike. He shouldn't be. Yeah. So he came over to my house all upset saying like, oh, why would you tell everyone I'm on a ride? I'm like, dude, you didn't even tell me you were on a ride. How can I tell everyone else? Yeah. So I just told him, I'm like, look, if do you love me or not? Because if you don't, there's the door. And he didn't answer in a split second, so I kicked him out, told him to get the fuck out. And then he was crying outside, and I don't give a shit. I told him if he didn't take his stuff out of my room, I was going to light it on fire in my driveway. But he took it. Too bad for me. So he left, and I literally haven't seen him since. But I know he talks crap about me and crap about my shop. He temporarily opened up a competing shop, from what I heard, which just disgraceful. I mean, like, what did I do to you? You know?
Right.
But
I mean, accident's an accident, but then being a cocksucker afterwards is pretty harsh,
exactly.
Right? I mean, it's not like you guys were on your first date, right?
No,
and you fucking wrecked.
And I've never, and you know, people that I know and still friends with, they give me a hard time about this, but I've never blamed him because, yeah, it's an accident. I like driving. I drive my car very erratically sometimes. I will street race all day. Doesn't matter. And I will do it, yes, with or without a passenger in my car. So I understand if I got out of control and was involved in an accident, God forbid, that if anything happened to my passenger, it's my fault.
Correct.
And in a sense, I've always told him, you just got to treat it like having a kid with someone that you're not with anymore. You got to be there for that kid.
Yeah.
Well, my accident, what happened to me, that's the kid. You know, be there for me.
Yeah,
Take me to a doctor appointment if I need help.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Even if you guys don't work out or you guys aren't fucking or whatever, at least, you know, hit you up. Hey man, you good? You need anything? Like,
exactly.
You need me to bring you some food, whatever, you know, and
send me a flower.
So yes, fuck something.
Be nice, you know, or on the anniversary of the accident, just you know,
come by,
send something.
Yeah, don't be a fucking douche, but
total douche mode.
It just happens. It happens, you know.
Stop talking to me. Started talking shit instead.
Know, he you know, I'm a firm believer in karma, you know. So maybe he'll catch herpes or something.
Yeah, it's been 11 years. I hope so.
He's probably got herpes now.
Yeah.
That's probably why.
You know, honestly, I live just fine aside from some serious pain here and there, but I've been drug-free since 2014. And I hope he struggles at the very least with the PTSD because he witnessed it all. I don't remember any of it.
Yeah.
I hope he remembers every second.
Yeah, fuck you. How about that? Fuck you. All right. Yeah, that's crazy, man, that people, you know, it's weird, right? Like,
I don't know how people can actually do that. I would feel just eternally indebted to someone if that happened at my hand. You would just feel like shit. I mean, I can understand if you don't want to date me anymore because things change.
Yeah,
I get it.
Of course.
But at least be a friend to me.
But, I mean, let's be honest, right? I don't know what you look like before the accident, right? But it's not like you're an ugly chick, right? Like, I mean, you're still pretty hot, right? Like, you're in a wheelchair. It's kind of fetishy too, right? Like, I'm sure you get that all the time, right?
Yeah, I've had some weird
motherfuckers are like,
people
hey,
come
what's
out of
up with the
nowhere,
nub, right?
Amputee thing.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that's how
it's funky sometimes. Yeah,
I have buddies that like, you know, they're either into fucking midgets, which I want to fuck a midget too. I mean, everybody who knows me knows that I want a midget really bad. But anyway, you know, they're just into, you know, whatever shit, you know what I mean? And there's people that are into like, fuck it, amputee. Is that what it's officially, amputee?
Yeah, I would be called an amputee for sure.
And then it's just, that's what it's called, amputee.
I don't know what the fetish would be, but I am called an amputee.
Maybe they want you to fucking, you know, stick in their butt with your nub, like you freaky shit.
Gosh, yeah.
I'm just saying, like pegging,
no
like,
idea.
You know, you never know. The motherfuckers is wild, dude.
Oh my
God.
what I mean? Oh gosh, yeah. I don't know how that would work.
I mean, yeah. Hopefully you don't get infected from that, right?
Ew. Oh no.
All right.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
But I bet, I'm telling you.
Yeah, there is definitely, like, I got really popular on Instagram shortly after my accident.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and I was getting hit up by all sorts of weird, they're called devotees. That's what it is, devotees.
Devotees?
People that are devoted to amputees. I don't understand it. But
what do you when you say devotees, like when you say they hit you up, they want to fuck or they want
they slide into the DMs and like ask for pictures of your legs or whatever it is, and it's just like, what the fuck?
Freaky.
Don't
fuckers.
answer. Yeah, I don't answer those.
Really?
I'm not one of those that will do that. I don't
God
know
bless
you.
them.
Don't become creeping out of nowhere. That's just.
I think you have to be on a whole nother level to reach out to someone you don't know and say, let me get a picture of your nub, or let me see what you're working with below the waist. I mean, even as friends, that's a hard, like, I wouldn't text you and be like, hey, Court, man, let me see your nub, right? I just, like, it might, even for me, and I'm a fucking motherfucker, bro, but that's a little far, dude.
It's
like,
weird. I mean, being an amputee, I don't want to see other amputees' nubs. I'm just saying.
Yeah, right. Like,
weird.
like you guys are comparing nubs, right? Like,
don't care. Don't want to know.
That's weird shit, dude. Yeah. I didn't know that. So they're called what?
Devotees.
Devotee. I'm gonna have to look that up. Devotees.
Yeah. Thankfully, it hasn't happened in a long time, but I used to get them very frequently, and it's like, what the fuck
really?
Is this? Yeah. So I'll just block that shit. Don't answer it. I don't want to know. Just creepy.
That's
for me. It's creepy.
Yeah. I don't. Maybe I don't know, dude.
I mean, yeah. God bless all y'all, but no.
Yeah, I mean, whatever you're into, right? Like, I don't judge. I don't.
Yeah.
It's, if you want to fuck miniature horses, and whatever, eat giraffe pussy, it's not my business. But you know, it's just
there's
weird.
a nice way about going about things, and then there's
don't get me wrong. I would definitely fuck somebody with a nub or an amputee, but I'm not like I don't have to see it with a fucking garter belt on it, or you know what I mean? Like, I don't
dress
need
it
to,
up, fishnet.
I mean, at least I know they'll never run away from me, right? They're always going to be there for me. It's going to be gravy, you know? I'm good with it. So, all right. So the accident happens, man. You're in a coma. You come out, fucking do your rehab. Dick face is gone, right? Mm-hmm. And now you get into, because you've always kind of been a gearhead, right? Even before the accident, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you start working back with your dad eventually, I would imagine, right?
Yeah. So I never really worked at AIP before I had my accident.
Okay.
I was the spokesmodel for the shop, though.
Okay.
So prior to my accident, I would, it's kind of pretty much on my own, but I taught gymnastics. I used to be a competitive dancer, but I quit that when I was 14. Went back to the gymnastics, started teaching it, and then I worked at a woman's shoe store. So I'd be nothing but in 6-inch heels. Can't talk. And then I did some modeling and stuff. So for my shop, we used to do a lot of shows and whatnot.
So I mean, let's just be frank. That fucking accident killed it, because gymnastics,
everything to do with your
fucking
legs.
shoes,
Everything to do with your legs.
everything to do with your legs. Yeah. So you had to find something.
Yeah. And you know, it's crazy too, because we used to do what we would call car shows once a month.
Okay.
More than just a bike night. Sorry, not car shows. It would be bike shows, where we'd have, no joke, easily 300 plus people every month. It was like an event. We'd had stunts going on. We had vendors going on. It was always a nonprofit charity. I actually had just gotten picked up to do a reality TV show that I actually forgot about until my dad reminded me like a year ago. Signed paperwork and everything. And it was going to be a reality show about me and like 3 other girls that I didn't know. And I have no idea what happened to it, because I had my accident and you know, things changed. But yeah, so it shifted my life majorly. Majorly. And then so after that, I started working at my shop, because I've always loved AIP. My dad always tried to keep me away because he wanted me to be my own person, you know, and not just why else did he keep you away? Well, he also thought keeping me at arm's length from motorcycles and cars and stuff, keeping me away would help me to not turn into a lesbian. So I don't know why being around this stuff would turn me into one, because I think you're going to be born that way. You know, you like what you like. Yeah. You either like dick or you don't, right? You either like fish sandwiches or you don't. That's all there is fucking to it. Yeah. So, you know, that was part of his fear too. You know, he didn't want me to turn into like a dude or whatever, like a manly woman. So he kept me away. But after that, I think he realized, you know, there's no harm to it. Bro. That's it. Ain't got time for it. Yeah. And then, I also, my dream car was always the 69 Camaro. Yeah. And I wanted one so bad since I was like 5 years old. People question that, because what all do you remember when you're 5? But I can promise you, since I was 5, I've dreamt of the car that I have now. Gotcha. And he found my car when I was in my coma, and he would talk to me about it. Like, Courtney, you got to get better, because we have this car to build, you know, we got to get better. And eventually I woke up and I couldn't talk. I had a trach in my neck and breathing tubes. Couldn't talk, so I was talking on an iPad. And it was funny, when I finally comprehended that he finally got me my dream car, I was actually really upset. Like my reaction, I was like, what the fuck? And he looked at me and he's like, why are you mad? And I typed on my iPad, I'm like, how can I drive my car when I don't have legs?
Yeah.
And he smiled and it made me more mad. I was like, what the fuck? That makes you happy, you know?
Right.
And he answered me and he's all, well, you asking that question tells me you are you. Yeah. We weren't sure how you were going to wake up because I did have a brain bleed.
Right.
So he's like, you asking that? We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I mean, I'm freshly 23 years old. I don't know any like disabled people really. Didn't know any amputees.
Yeah.
I don't know how people drive a car that don't have legs.
Sure.
And figuring out, okay. So then fast forward to 2014 when we were assessing my car and the direction of how we're going to build this. He was asking me, you know, how do I want to build it? Because my dad can build motors like you can't believe. Some of you might know, but he builds one hell of a motor. And he was like, look, I can build a nasty small block. And I'm like, Dad, the way I've always pictured my car is with that big block, that 454 you have.
Yeah.
And I just want it stressed the fuck out, but I want to be able to drive it to the beach and back, no problem.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how he built it. And then the next question is, well, how do I drive? It's got to be converted so, you know, someone disabled can drive. Absolutely not. Neither one of my cars is converted for a disabled person. I don't drive with hand controls. I drive with my prosthetic foot the same way everyone else drives with their right foot.
Yeah.
Totally
so
legal.
You're still fucking bird?
I'm with my foot. Yeah.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yep. I have two Camaros. So I have my 2015 and then my 69. My 2015 has paddle shifters, you know, because you can drive it in manual mode.
Yeah.
So I typically drive that way because I just like how my car responds better that way. I like lower gears, higher RPMs, you know, feisty. My 69 also has paddle shifters.
Yeah, I saw that.
But I haven't used them yet. So I've just been driving that one like
normal, huh?
Yep.
Yeah. That's a fucking clean car. I like it. It is pretty sick.
I'm quite obsessed.
Yeah. And you know, and you're a gearhead and you're not a lesbian, so fucking Chris, slow it down, okay? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, you were worried for nothing.
Worried for nothing, bro.
Jeez.
Well, that's good. So now your guys' shop, like you said, you guys did my bike, and it was, I mean, it's amazing at the work that it does. And you guys have done some cars for my buddy Justin Gonzalez and, you know, a lot of other people. So I know your guys' reputation is pretty sick out here. And then, so what's going on with AIP now?
Yeah, so we're in a transition, like you said. So the building we were in, honestly, we didn't really get a lot of answers. We were just told we have to get out. Our lease was ending soon anyways, but we've been in this building since 2014. And the only thing I can think of realistically is we pay well below market for rent in that spot compared to what he could be making, the landlord. So I think he just wanted a change, and there's no way he was going to be able to raise our rent that significantly. So I think he just decided to kick us out. So it was a very short notice, and so we split AIP in half. My tech that was doing my cars bought out my car side, and he's continuing that. My dad is still supervising, especially the cars that we were in the middle of, to make sure they get done properly. But I mean, he was the tech doing all the work anyway, so he'll be fine. And then my motorcycle side merged with Ken and Joe's. So Ken and Joe's is a multi-line dealership out in Santa Clarita. They do Honda, Kawasaki, KTM, Saran, and Royal Enfield. And now they service and sell parts for Harley Davidson. Our dyno went with us, so we still have that, but that's under construction, so the room coming soon. And then, just kind of helped everyone out. I think it's a better situation for everybody. My main mechanic went with us as well. So Gabby, he's been with us for 20 plus years. And then even prior to that, he worked with my dad at another dealership way back in the day. So he's our number one tech. He's over there as well. So AIP is still there. We just merged with another company.
I saw him this morning.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we went by there to check out the room with your dad, and I saw him this morning. So
yeah, he's a beast.
Yeah. He's been around a long time, right?
Yeah, he's been around for my company. He was there since 2 years into working, so 22 years under my company. And then prior to that, he worked with my dad at Honda of North Hollywood selling motorcycles back in the day.
Is the plan eventually to get another building and do it? Or or is it kind of still up in the air, or is it fuck it, we're gonna stick with Ken and Joe's or John's? Is it Ken and John or Joe's?
Ken and Joe's.
Ken and Joe's.
Yeah.
So are you guys gonna stay there, or is it kind of it's kind of up in the air?
I want to say it's probably a little up in the air. I do know the owner of Ken and Joe's, Dave Denman, has been a lifelong friend of my dad's.
Correct.
And there's no way my dad would put him in a pickle by, temporarily being there and then bouncing,
Exactly.
Dave helped my dad out when we were in a pickle, needed somewhere to go. He let us go there. So I would think the main goal would be to grow Ken and Joe's.
Sure.
I don't know how being a Harley-Davidson dealership would work, but I'm sure selling more used Harleys over there would definitely be part of the deal. They already do sell some used Harleys.
Yeah.
But servicing them for sure. The cars probably not attached to Ken and Joe's. I think my tech will probably stay doing his own thing.
Yeah.
My dad may or may not choose to do a project on his own when it comes to a car.
And so where is that tech doing the work at?
He's out in Agua Dulce, Acton.
Oh, yeah.
I think Agua Dulce.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's out of his home, and don't judge. He's a younger dude. His name's Tristan, but he's got it going on. And then my shop started in my garage at my house.
I think anybody who works on fabrication or cars or motorcycle or anything, it all started in everything.
Yeah.
Nobody wakes up and goes, you know what? I'm going to fucking open up a company and build. It doesn't work that way, right? Everything is in increments, and everybody starts out of their garage. So, and even people that still work I work on my own shit in my own garage.
Yeah.
I did this morning with my buddies, right? Like, it's just something that, that you kind of enjoy doing,
Yeah. And he's actually got, a big garage where he's got multiple cars going on in there right now. All the ones that we were in the middle of, he's finishing, and he's doing a great job.
Yeah.
And people more so judge him for his age, not so much working at his house.
Yeah.
But for his age, because he's a younger kid, he's
but when you
20
know
years
it, you
old.
fucking
But
know it.
I'm like, my dad's a younger dude. He was building motors by the time he was 13, and it's like I wouldn't trust a 13-year-old building my motor, but I'm telling you, he knows his shit. So
that's one thing about your dad. He does know what the fuck he's doing.
He really knows his shit.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about a few things that I have questions.
Okay.
Well, so first of all, when I walked into AIP, right, somebody like myself that comes in, I'm very direct, outspoken, very to the point, and sometimes when I go into places, I feel like either I got to tone it down or I can't be myself, and I really got to be careful on what I do. And I told you this off camera, that I knew that you guys were my spot when I walked in, and Justin's car was there, and there was a fucking big old dildo fucking on the window. I'm like, this is my shit right here. These motherfuckers just don't care. Yeah, you guys had dildos floating around there, right? Yeah,
we had a couple of them, different sizes and everything,
It made me laugh so hard that I just was like, because when people that dress up in suit and ties, they're still underneath, they have that, right? That funky sense of humor. Everybody does it. Just nobody wants to come out and do it. Yeah. And that's when I knew for sure that I would, it would be amazing.
Right.
Yeah. Have you gotten on a motorcycle since?
Yes and no. So I've been on like a quad.
Okay.
So I have no fear of going on a motorcycle. My only issue is I'm down 3 joints: your hip, your knee, and your ankle.
Okay.
So riding a bike by myself is like out of the question because of balance.
Okay.
Being on the back of a bike is more so like short term only, because I wouldn't be able to get off the bike. I need my wheelchair to get around. So if we took a long ride somewhere, I'd have to just be on the bike, or someone's carrying me around for a day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I have not been on like a 2-wheel bike since.
Yeah. But you're small enough where you have a boyfriend, right?
Yes.
You just jump on his back and call it a day, right?
I mean,
he can support it. He's a young, strong dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Mike,
absolutely.
right? Mike.
Yeah, Mike. Yeah.
Mike, you fuck Carrier. We're fucking around all the time. I'm just kidding.
Oh, he absolutely would too. But his bike is actually a bike that my shop built many years ago. It's a 2009 R1, but it's a very special, unique R1. You can find it on YouTube. It's the AIP Trendsetter. Back then, we got contracted with Yamaha to do a 50th anniversary for Laguna Seca. So his bike is a very unique, it's a beautiful bike. It's got a fat tire. It's got spoke wheels. It's got nitrous. It's actually a race bike.
Fast.
Josh Hayes' race bodywork and stuff. It's everything about that bike is something you can't buy off the showroom floor. But his bike is a single-seater only. It's actually my favorite bike we've ever built. I was super upset with my dad when he sold it, and he ended up selling it to my future boyfriend.
That's
so
cool.
It's still in the family.
Still in the fam.
Still in the family.
Still in the fam.
Yeah.
So has this hindered you? Obviously, it's hindered you in life and some other things, right? But like normal shit that you want to do, like you said earlier, you like going to the beach and shit, right? But are you able to swim?
I can swim. Honestly, I've never been a big fan of swimming. I know how to swim. I can swim. Really I'm not like afraid of it.
Right.
But yeah, I could care less about going into the water or not. So I choose not to. I'm more of a cruise the coastline, listening to my music really loud kind of person.
Yeah. Smell the beach, not be in the water.
Yeah, I don't mind sitting on the sand or whatever, but now it's more difficult because the wheelchair doesn't move that much in the sand.
Yeah.
And then sand just in general gets everywhere.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
I hate sand.
Yeah, I've always been a big car person, so my cars are always clean, and don't bring that shit into my car. It'll stress me out. But it has hindered me to an extent, but I try, the world is not going to adapt to me. I have to adapt to it. Yeah. And that was something that was told to me by an amputee friend a long time ago, and it stuck with me. And it's easier said than done because a lot of places, I can't really fit with. For example, stairs. Believe it or not, most houses have a stair, whether it's a step or two or three into a house or whatever. Doorways. There's a lot of doorways I can't fit into, believe it or not. But not only that, some doors are brutal heavy.
Right.
Like, and wheels and motion, you just don't mix trying to open a door when you're on wheels.
Yeah. And it's funny because we take that shit for granted.
The easy
every
things.
Fucking day. Where we're just like, oh, fuck, this is my, and where it's crazy to hear you talk about that because it's like, I never would have thought about any of that. Ever. And until you said that right now, I'm like, oh, fuck, dude, that's crazy.
Me either. I can keep going.
Yeah.
Like cobblestone, believe it or not, super annoying because it's a bump. It's Jesus. I can't stand the cobblestone. Right. But like, okay, there's that. Rainy days. I don't like rainy days because, yes, ultimately these are tires. It makes a fucking mess. It makes a mess out of my car, my arms, if I hit the tire, my clothes. It's just a gross mess.
But when it rains, can you fucking skeet around a fucking corner?
Oh, I'm doing that more so than not because everything gets wet and it's slippery, so you don't have any grip and you're just sliding out of control whether you're trying to.
So you could Tokyo drift a corner in the rain.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
It's fun. But,
so they're gonna ask what happened to my fucking foot because they're a bunch of fucking nosy pricks. I have a bone spur attached to my Achilles tendon.
Yeah.
So they gave me a cortisone shot in it, but because it's attached to my Achilles tendon, they said that I could rip my tendon. So I have to be in this dumbass boot for fucking 2 weeks. And last night I got out of my truck with my buddy Rob and fucking stepped right into a fucking puddle. And so it's all dirty and fucked up.
Oh,
but
man.
I still rode.
Yeah.
See, I still rode. Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I'm riding anyway.
That's your brake foot,
fuck that shit.
If it was your shift foot, you're probably going to cry a little bit.
Yeah, you don't need it. Fuck that. What do you need a brake for? So that's good. I'm glad that AIP is good. I have several buddies of mine who had their bikes tuned there. Several buddies that have had cars built there, and Chris really does know what he's doing. I mean, he's pretty amazing.
He's the guy.
He's a cool dude, bro. Honestly.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah. He's gay, but he's cool.
Well, he knows.
Yeah, he knows he's gay. I told him this morning.
Yeah.
I said, "Do you want me to paint your room pink?" He's like, "Fuck yeah, butterflies."
Oh, I was gonna say, did he ask for glitter too?
Butterfly glitter. We're gonna do it all. So
doesn't surprise me.
So how long have you been with your current boyfriend, Mike?
We've been together for just shy of a year and a half. Yep. But known him for about 12 years now.
Oh, so a long time.
That's a funny story too, because this was like 2012, I want to say.
Okay.
I was with my ex, the one that put me in this chair, And Mike,
fuck you, by the way. Go ahead.
yeah,
Sorry.
Mike came by my shop and saw the R1 in the window and started talking to my dad about it and wanted to buy it. And my dad was looking at him. He had a mohawk and he's just this young, fit dude. The way he was talking, likes the bike that I love.
Yeah.
And my dad was talking to his business partner at the time, and he's like, I see Courtney all day right here. And Mike's like, who's Courtney? And he's like, oh, that's my daughter. And Mike's like, ever since then, because he's like, I knew your dad was just the guy to talk to. I spoke to everyone else there. Your dad was the guy. He goes, ever since he said, you need to meet my daughter, I just kind of had a thing for you. He never met me. And my dad kept telling me, oh, you got to come by and meet this guy, because Mike's car is actually the first car my dad took into the shop. Mm-hmm. He has a 68 Pro Street drag Camaro. It's an 8-second Camaro with a parachute on the back. And he brought it into the shop for us to do some work. We're going to make it street legal, because when you have a parachute, you can't do that.
Right.
Yeah, my dad kept telling me, oh, you got to meet this guy. You got to see his car. And this is before I had my accident. Never had my 69, but that was my dream car. I love Camaros. Every time I came by my shop, my dad would be like, oh, you just missed him like 2 minutes ago.
Right.
And I'm like, okay. Back then I was in a relationship. I wasn't really interested in looking elsewhere.
Sure.
I'm not that person, but I'll still meet someone,
Yeah,
whatever.
Of course.
Just never met him. And then I had my accident, and he's like, Mike was like, yeah, it just surprised me because it affected me, and I never even met you. I was really sad. The whole aura of the shop changed. Chris was gone because he was 24/7 with me in the hospital, and he was like, everything just changed, and I was devastated. I wanted to meet you and just never did.
Yeah.
And then when I survived and moved up here, now it's 2015, so a couple years later, he's still a customer, still never met him, still had his car, his bike would come in every so often. I finally meet him, and he's a super nice guy, very good-looking dude, and my dad was always pushing him on me, but it's like, it's awkward,
Yeah,
You're disabled, he's a good-looking dude, I'm sure he's got someone, whatever.
He's probably got it lined up, right?
Yeah, and he was like telling me, still to this day, and I always find it hard to believe just because of whatever my own insecurities or something. He was like, no, I always had a thing for you.
Yeah.
The wheelchair thing never bothered me. I just didn't want to be like perceived like the creep hitting on you now,
like one of those, what'd you call them? Dormants?
Devotees.
Devotees?
Yeah, because he's not one of those,
Right.
like he doesn't see the accident, It's
yeah.
like he looks past it, which is just really nice. He's
Yeah.
the best guy I've ever been with. Treats me super well, just very nice. I truly never thought that someone would treat me like that. I never thought I'd find a person that could tolerate this. It's a lot to handle, I can't go everywhere. I have to think about where I go. I gotta foresee it.
You gotta plan shit.
I gotta plan,
You can't just
if I can use the bathroom.
on the fly,
I go to Supercross races. I have to pay more just to sit in the handicap section because the tickets are more than just a regular seat. So it's like, I gotta hope everyone's willing to spend more money just to sit and
Just to
watch a
chill.
show with me, So it's just, I'm very fortunate. He helps me out a lot with things that I need help with.
Yeah.
I don't need help with a lot, but little things. He'll help me in and out of my car. He'll open doors for me. He's truly just a man's man from way back in the day, and he sees past my accident, doesn't let it affect anything. So
I was always told that when somebody has a disability, to not help them, but don't
assume they need the help.
Yeah, don't assume, right? Because it will bother them, like they can't do it themselves.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I saw you when you pulled up. I was out back, and I saw you open your door, and I was gonna come over and help, and I thought, no, you know what? Like if she needs help, she'll ask, right? I don't want to just assume. And you fucking did it all yourself, had your wheels and shit, and I was like, oh yeah, she knows what fucking time it is.
Yeah.
I ain't gotta do shit.
Yeah.
But is that true? Like, do you want to do it for yourself, right? And
yes.
Unless you have to ask, right?
Yeah, so I feel like there's two ways about that. Like when it's strangers, I'd feel weird about asking a stranger for help. However, I've done it before. Mm-hmm. But when it's people that, I don't mind if people come up to me and approach me like, hey, do you need help with something? And then I can just say no. Or I can be like, actually, yeah, help me with this. I don't like when people will just assume I need the help and they'll come over and pull them, because there's a process to building my wheelchair. It's not just foldable. I have to build it.
Right.
So when they come up and just take the chair from me, now it's messing up my system because they don't know how to build it.
Right.
So now they're slowing me down. I don't like when they just assume that. Like,
Sure.
let me help you. And they just take control.
Yeah.
That will bother me. But if they're like, oh, do you need help? Then I can say yes or no. But what's really entertaining for me, probably my favorite thing about being disabled, if I had to choose one, is parking spots. So I park in the handicap spot. More so because I need the room to open my door to build my wheelchair. I could care less about being close to a door or not.
Yeah.
I just need the space. I don't fit in normal spaces. I can't get out of my car. However, I'm a young girl. I drive a sports car. And you're not supposed to drive with your handicap placard hanging from the mirror. So people see me park in the handicap, and they immediately, this happens almost everywhere I go, I'll get yelled at by people.
Talking shit.
That's for handicap. You can't park there. And they'll full blown get violent over it. And I love it because I'll be like, okay, give me a fucking second to park my car, and let me get out. So you can tell me if I fucking qualify to park here or not. And then I'll be building my chair. And then
I can only imagine the
reaction.
face.
Yeah, it's the reaction. It goes from being all angry to, oh shit,
Yeah.
oh, I fucked up.
Yeah.
And they're sorry.
And do you ever fuck with them and go, is this enough? Is this okay for you?
Oh, almost
my God.
every time.
I want
every
to see.
time.
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah.
It's almost like taking somebody that has Tourette's. Like I want to take somebody with Tourette's to church. You know what I mean? Like I would love to see the reaction.
Yeah, I've gotten into some fights over parking spots because of it, like verbal fights and shit.
Yeah.
Out here, there's a restaurant called Egg Plantation. It's a
love
breakfast
it.
place, right?
I love it.
So you know the layout.
Yep. No, there's only one fucking handicap right in the front.
Yeah. So, and it's a very busy restaurant,
Yes.
right? Well, across the street, very little street.
Correct.
There's like that gym there, right?
Yes.
The deli.
Yep.
Well, I can park in the handicap over there. So
Right.
I'll do that. Here's the thing with handicap spots. The rules don't apply to a disabled person.
Correct.
So if they claim it's private property and you can't park there unless you have permission, that only matters if it's gated or not.
Correct.
Their spot's not gated, so I can legally park anywhere with my handicap placard.
Correct.
There was this one time I was going there with one of my friends and backed into a spot, and this dude comes running over before I'm out of my car, telling me I can't park there. And I mean, he's older than me. He's being violent about it, cussing me out, telling me I cannot park there. And I'm like, yes, I can. And he's like, no, you don't know the fucking laws, lady. You can't park here. I'm like, I don't think you know the laws. I absolutely can park here. And we got into this verbal thing, and I'm halfway building my chair, and he's still cussing me out over it. I started getting nervous about leaving my car there because I don't know what he's going to do to my car.
Right.
And I got really pissed. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. And I kept asking him his name, right? And he told me his name is Roger. So I put myself back in the car, closed my door, rolled my window down. I'm like, okay, I'll be back for you, Roger. I'll be back. And I peeled out of there and left. My dad came back, and he just parked in the middle of the parking lot. Never parked his car somewhere, just stopped his truck.
Right.
It's 12 inches up there. Threw it in parking, went into the deli, and he's like, hey, I'm looking for Roger. And the lady's like, Roger, do you mean Robert, the property manager? I'm like, oh, so this guy can't even fucking say his real name.
Yeah, he's just
he called my friend Snowflake, too.
Yeah.
And I had told my dad, I'm like, tell him Snowflake sent him.
Right.
He'll know. So in Delhi, there's like where you order, and I guess there's like a kitchen door with a window on it. Mm-hmm. My dad can see, because I took a picture of Roger too, right? I still call him Roger because that's how he told me his name is.
Yeah.
He can see Roger through the window hiding back there.
Right.
And my dad was asking for him. He wouldn't come out. So then the lady at the deli got him on the phone and handed my dad the phone.
Yeah.
And he's talking to my dad saying, well, look, she just didn't know. And he goes, no, Roger, you don't know what you're talking about. She's disabled. She can park there anytime she wants. And he's like, well, no, it's private property. And he goes, yeah, that doesn't apply here unless you have a gated area. She can park anywhere she wants. He said he's a Marine, and my dad's like, you're a disgrace to being a fucking Marine.
Right.
Like, this is ridiculous. You're yelling at a little girl in a wheelchair? Like, come on. And he, like, made it clear, I'm allowed to park there if I ever choose to park there.
Yeah.
So I came back, and again, he gave me a hard time. So this time I came in a little more deep with a couple friends, and my dad, like, launched out of the car before I can even park, and Roger's trying to run away from my dad, and big old fiasco. I mean, it's amazing.
Over nonsense.
Over what?
And a lot of people don't even get it, right? It doesn't matter if it's private property. The minute that there's a handicap placard there, or a handicap sign, any person with a handicap placard can park in that area unless it is gated. That is the only rule.
Yeah, correct.
That's it. And so private property does not apply to that. fucking bunch of idiots.
Yes.
So that's funny.
Yeah.
But.
Just ridiculous.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up a little bit here. It's about that time. So tell everybody where they can find you on Instagram, Facebook, all that bullshit.
Oh, yeah. Facebook, just my name, Courtney Jones. Instagram, it's at Squeaky with 3 S's. SSSQUEAKY.
So check it out. Don't be getting in her fucking DMs and saying you want to see pictures of her nubs and shit, you fucking freaks. That's fucking freaky. All right, remember, every Wednesday come out with new episodes, Dying to See Me. You can check it out on Spotify, Instagram, YouTube, Samsung, all the bullshit. Check it out. And hopefully soon we'll see some AIP shit coming out really soon.
Yeah, and in the meantime, just go check out Ken and Joe's.
Yeah.
My dad's the general manager. Just
Ask for Chris. Yeah, tell him Snowflake sent you.
Yeah.
And we'll see you next time.